Hi everyone, welcome to week 3. You've officially made it past the first 2 weeks. I know they are brutal, so good job for making it through those. And we are going to move forward into the 4th chapter this week, and it's a long one, so it will take quite a while to read through, and then you'll be taking the quiz. And this week we have 2 different assignments that are going to look at more of the environmental aspect of health and how that can impact us. So this first one is the climate change walkthrough case. And so you are going to take the role of a Senate aide, and you're going to be working on the topic of climate change. And so this is a PowerPoint type assignment. You will go through the PowerPoint. There are some questions that you'll have to answer, and some data that they're going to collect is for a baseline. And you'll want to go through each slide, and then at the end you'll be graded, and then that score will go into your grades in Blackboard. It should be pretty quick, but it may not be absolutely immediate after you complete that. So let's go ahead and look at this. So this is obviously not from this school. This was taken from some of the leaders in the field, and so this is information that is really notable and is reputable. So for this assignment, you're going to click down here on this arrow, and it's going to take you through each slide. And so you'll notice down here on the bottom, it will have the different slides, and where there's a circle, that is where one of the questions is that you're going to have to answer. So if we go through that, so this is just to gather some baseline information. Like I said, you don't have to answer anything of this, but you don't have to write this anywhere or type the answer anywhere, but you'll want to identify which one is the closest to your thoughts about the scientific evidence for global climate change. So you'll go through this. There's a few questions. And then anytime that you see this, you're just going to want to click on this to gather more information. So it's not necessarily on the slide itself, but there's some icon that you'll click in order to gather more information. So you'll continue to go through, like I said, clicking on each button, and then, okay, so now we test your knowledge of what was just covered. And so then you'll have your first quiz question, and so this is where you will find your responses. So you're going to identify which one you agree with and which one you think is the right answer. So obviously it states right here, and so then you would identify, okay, I think it is this letter, and then you would go and click on it. So go all the way to the end, and then at the very end, it's going to show you whether you correctly scored or not and what your total score is. So that is going to be the climate change walkthrough. And then the next assignment you have is another hypothesis. It is similar in that you're still working on a PDF, you're still commenting on other individuals' answers, but now I have identified questions that I want you to answer. So you need to answer all of my questions as replies. Please do not create your own thread. That's not what I want on this one, but you're going to reply to the question that I have already pre-populated. So that's worth 80%, is answering every single one of my questions. And then you need to also reply to at least 3 of your peers in a meaningful way that moves the conversation forward. So this is nothing new. You've all been aware of this since the beginning of the semester, first week with the discussion board. I want meaningful posts. So I'll go ahead and show you what this assignment looks like. So this one is, we can get rid of this one. So this one is informational. Sorry. The beauty of working from home is the dogs are insane and they will bark at anything and everything. So I apologize for that. Okay, so if you are reading through this, anytime that you see something that's highlighted yellow, that's where you would show or would see the annotation. So there are 5 different ones, and I want you to read through this entire document and get to each one as you're reading through it. I don't want you to just click on each one of these and answer the question. That's not what the intent is. You're not going to get what you need to out of it. So you're going to read this entire document. It's only 9 pages. You can do it. And then I am going to, I'm sorry, you'll see down here when you get to it, the first one's fairly far down. Here we go. So I've highlighted this. So these are the 4 questions. Some of these are not exact. When the questions are highlighted, I may have something over here. So you're always going to want to look at the directions over here first before you start answering. So answer these 4 questions. In your reply, please number your answers and place each new one on a new line so they are easier to read. So this button, hover over it, it states reply. So I'm going to say 1, my answer is this. 2, my answer is this. 3, and so on. 4. Then you will post it. So this is going to then document as one of your annotations towards my questions. So I'm going to delete this because we don't need that. But as you continue to go through them, there's going to be more and more on there as people write their annotations. So you are still responsible for answering the original post, and then what will happen is you will reply to, like I said, at least 3 of your peers in a meaningful way that moves the conversation forward. So when you, I guess I shouldn't have deleted that. So if you're replying 1, 2, let's just do that, post. So then you can reply to this one specifically. So you will want to reply to the specific post that you are looking to reply to. That was a horrible sentence. You will want to make sure that you are replying to the person's post, not mine, when you are making your responses. Because you have to respond to mine, all of them, but you only need to respond to 3 additional ones beyond that. So then you'll continue reading, and here's another one. Okay, so before reading further, answer the question and explain why you think what you do. For the question, use a timeline of several hours exposure to fine particles. So that will make way more sense when you read this article. But so can fine particles at elevated levels really do so much damage so quickly? So you are going to need to gain your knowledge from the textbook, what you've been reading, and also from this this document. And so you'll need to respond to this question. Then if we go further, this one's a lot longer. Okay, so you need to answer these questions. So I state them right in here, 1 and 2. So they're a little bit longer, and we bring into play the ethical viewpoint. And so I highly suggest, if you haven't already, week 2, you started the ethics module, hopefully, and so you should be now wrapping it up or still working through it. But I recommend you get through it prior to getting to this point, because it will be helpful in just bridging that knowledge together, because we are going to be continuing to talk about ethics for the remainder of the semester. But this is when we really want to start to identify those viewpoints and which ones you use to decide certain things. So then we continue reading, and we have one final area. It should be all the way at the bottom pretty much. Okay, so you'll notice in this one, I don't want you to answer these 3 questions, but you're answering these questions over here. So you want to make sure that you're not just answering the questions that are in the document, but really the ones that I'm posting in my annotation. So that's what you're going to do. And then this is just the follow-up, and that is it. So you have 4 4 annotations that I have done that you need to respond to. It says 5, but this first one is really just that informational statement that says, don't reply to this comment, and then also don't create your own annotations. You want to reply to each one of mine. So that is week 3. It looks like a lot. It's not as much as you have been doing. So you're going to read chapter 4. You're going to complete the quiz. And then you have the climate change walkthrough case and the clean air hypothesis, and then you should be wrapping up the ethics module if you haven't already. So that is this week, and I hope you guys have a learning about all of these environmental changes that are happening. Some not so good, some things that we can change, and just how it relates to global health. So if you have any questions, as always, you can get a hold of me through email, schedule a time to meet over video conference or phone. And like I said, those are Tuesdays and Thursdays from 6 to 8 p.m. Okay, have a great week.